Hi everyone, and welcome to Leaders That Have Left a Mark, conversations about human and real leadership. My name is Marco Segui, and I coach leaders in Moments of Change to take on new challenges with confidence and clarity. Today we have our guest, Hristina. So welcome, Hristina. We exchanged a few emails. The first time we met each other is right now, just 2 minutes ago, and you proposed in one of your emails to let's jump in without a script, let's jump in without questions, and we'll show whatever we have. We don't know each other. We just met through a friend that nominated you. I'll get to that in a bit, but it's great. Thank you for the challenge, and it's great having you here. So let's go for it. Don't know how this is going to come out, but I'm sure it's going to be nice and interesting for especially people that are listening. So welcome, Hristina.
Thank you, Marcos. Thank you so much. I'm really excited. Like you said, you reached out based on someone's recommendation or mentioning, and I had a brief look at some of your previous conversations. I thought you're doing very interesting things, and I was happy to talk about, I guess, my experience. I always love talking about my experience and things that I do just because I'm so passionate. And about the challenge. So your initial idea was to talk about change. Mm-hmm. And I got really excited about that topic just because it's something that I've been dealing with for the last maybe 3.5 years, and I'm still in the process of it.
Yeah.
And I just started thinking about it. Like my mind went into different directions and what change means, and often comes with this uncertainty and ambiguity, and how do we manage it? And we usually try to control. So as I was thinking about that, I thought, what if we just try to experiment here, and we put ourselves in a situation of no control and uncertainty, and we just go with it. So thank you for agreeing to this. Let's see.
Great. No, I love these challenges. Not everybody is up to it. So thank you for saying and
we have been we'll touch on that probably in our conversation, why it's so hard for people to go with the flow, in those situations. As you said, not everyone would be up for it. So
and I think it's a good point, especially for leaders. Good leaders, I think, are people that should be people that are well led as well. So they're jumping into things that other people lead. Sorry. And you just proposed something that maybe was, I don't know, it was strange, different. You didn't know the show, what I was doing. You just briefly saw a couple of videos. So you didn't know if it was going to be a stupid or ridiculous thing to say or to do. And even so, you proposed it. So for me, that's a good leader. Sometimes starting to dance when there's nobody in the dance floor. And hopefully somebody will join and into your idea or whatever you've proposed. So for what this is and this space, I think that's the best thing to do it as we teach about it. So thank you. And I would love to know just how do you present yourself? Who is Hristina today? Who am I with now?
Yeah, that's always a very big question, because it just opens your identity sort of crisis of who am I today? A very good question today. I guess briefly, my journey's been the last maybe 12 years in tech in different roles. And I've loved working in tech. It just really plays to my strengths of problem solving. And I've always been in very cross-functional roles, high scope, large scale. But I've also I used to say that I've had a parallel life. And that's my more, you can call it spiritual, conscious side. So I've been immersed in a lot of practices, in a lot of modalities. I've trained as a yoga teacher, as a coach, recently as a somatic and nervous system therapist, and a few other modalities. And they've been always sort of like both present in my life, very actively present, running in parallel. And I took a risk. I took a break last year. I quit my job. went traveling. And now I'm back. A year later, I'm back, and I'm coming back to tech in a different sort of role, while still trying to figure out how do I bring all of those programs and trainings and skills into what I do. So that's just briefly a bit of my journey.
Yeah, I was just, as I was listening to you, I was just relating because I just briefly saw your LinkedIn job. So you worked at Skyscanner for nearly 10 years, and then you went traveling. So it's quite like this contradiction. Yeah, you just gone with it. And the other thing is, usually tech companies and more holistic ways of life, like coaching and all these somatic things that you've done, is like, again, it's like opposite. You know, I can see a picture with you, like, just like breathing, meditating. I don't know what you're doing, but it's like the opposite of what tech should be. So it's I like the way you said it, like second life, and I had another side of me, and I think many people have these two sides, and they have to deal with it, because one is what you've brought into and what society expects you to do or to be, and the other one is our inner feelings, our need to explore new things, to find our real path, something that's really connected to ourselves. And I think that is somewhere where you are quite strong. And after being so many years in the same job, or even with different jobs within the same company, I think it's a very difficult thing to do. Just quit, especially if you don't have anything else. You don't have the other job settled. So how was that for you?
And just briefly, you touched on, just like I said, how those two things, we don't necessarily see them coming together, like tech or business and all of those softer conscious spirituality, again, whatever word we choose to use, they don't necessarily come together. And I think this was the challenge that I had taken upon myself, to actually bring them together. Because from my own growth and my own journey, I saw how they're so needed. Like, I used to do all of those practices and my own development, again, on the side. And I realized actually doing all this work on the side is what was making me better in my job. And then what I was seeing was lacking in others, right? Like leadership, and how managers are being trained currently in companies is very much, how to give feedback, how to have one-to-one conversations. But actually, who you are as a manager, as a leader, is also who you are as a person, regardless of the context of work, of relationship. And who we are as people is something that we don't often take the time to really investigate, to learn our own patterns and models and ways of doing. And it comes up in work. Especially the more senior you are, the more, I guess, challenges you have, the more responsibilities. And because of that, the more those patterns come up, and the more you are likely to respond from those patterns.
Yeah.
So once I start seeing that in my work, in my studies, I wanted to bring this sort of type of modalities in tech. And that was also the goal during my travels. It was take a break and travel, but also try to do all of this on the side. And I did a few programs. My first program for leaders was called Leadership is Awareness, because it's exactly that. Knowing yourself as a person and as a leader is how you can show up. And unfortunately, it was hard. It was hard to bring this work. I remember the first company I talked to it, and I shared my first program, which was bringing together nervous system work, but also shadow work. Maybe you're familiar. And HR responded to me saying that, wow, what you have is really impressive, but I'm afraid we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know you're not there yet. That's why I'm coming. No one is. And I'm very grateful, because she also said, we're not there yet, but I think what you have is very valuable. Let's have a conversation and see what we can do and where we can start. So we started from a very sort of smaller space and smaller scope. But yeah, all that to say, unfortunately, it's not something that is very active in leadership conversations. And I think there is a massive need. And I'm haven't still given up on that hope and that idea. Let's see how it looks like in the future.
Yeah, you just reminded me when I started coaching like 14, 15 years ago. I couldn't even sell coaching. I couldn't say coaching business. Like, "Ooh, what are you going to do to us? You know, he's going to change our minds or something." I was like kind of dangerous. So I had to like say I was just going to do some leadership training or conversations. So yeah, it's you've got a tough one there, but I think it's very needed, and it's difficult to sell as well because you have to explain what it is, and people have all this. It's a good thing and a bad thing, I think, because they have so many. Sometimes when you have so many ideas of what it is, and here they don't have any ideas, so it's like an open box for them. So, on one hand, there's fear always coming in, and so they're reluctant to do these things, especially if it's with top leaders and people that don't have time for these stupid things, what they say. And then on the other hand, it's all there for you to, put a name and label onto it and make it worthwhile and create something really useful for companies and people.
Yeah. You made me think again, it's a nice way to come back to our topic, because you said when it's not known, there is fear, and it's actually again going back to change, right? It's something different. It's new. We've never tried it. Like, can I trust this? What will happen if I do that and it doesn't work out? What if it's, whatever? So all of those questions when it's something new, different, change.
Yeah. And it goes very linked with also, especially on the sales side, when you want to sell something like this, you need to have really a good like a trust, build some trust with this HR people that you were saying, or whoever is going to buy, and that I think is something that it's becoming more and more clear, and it's a bigger need because nowadays with all this social media, and you just get selling all the time, any type of selling at all cost. All the time. So I think building trust, again, even if it's through people you maybe don't know that much or you just heard about them, I think it's a good thing to start with, and it's a good relation to start with to be able to put this onto the work environment and companies. Yeah.
Yeah.
So why this and not something else? How did you know that was something that you wanted to explore? Uncertainty before, especially working in something really different.
Yeah, it was because of the impact it had on me. So again, I've tried different modalities, and I've seen it also a bit of a journey, and that's what I'm also starting to think. The more we do this work, it's sort of like a spiral, or going deeper and deeper, and each type of practice or modality helps you get to the next level almost.
Yeah.
So initially for me was coaching. Either I've done or I've trained as a coach. I've done some career coaching work as well with clients. Different types of therapies and practices. And then when I got into somatic therapy, it literally transformed my life. So somatic works with the nervous system. So very briefly, the nervous system is the state of our nervous system, is how we experience the world. It's based on our early experiences, but also our just current state of our nervous system. And it's especially in situations, again, going back to change means threat to the system. Even if it's a positive change, it's a threat. There's something different, something new is happening. I need to be ready. And depending on the state of our nervous system, we respond in a different way. And I did my first program. It was a year-long program. And over time, this work is very much you doing the work for yourself, and from that place, guiding others. So as a somatic therapist, you're not really giving answers to people. You're not doing things to people. It's your presence, what you are, how you embody that work is impacting others, and the ability to hold them. So it literally transformed my life. And I saw that it was in a moment where I was having a big change in my career. So as you said, I worked for 9 years at Skyscanner. initially within what we call localization, so international content, international product. I led a team for 7 years, and I reached a point where I wasn't learning anymore. And I'm someone that loves growth and learning, and my mind needs to be stimulated.
Yeah.
So I decided to move into product management. So it was a completely new domain and discipline as a product management, but also in a very technical space, product experimentation. So very much data science, engineering, statistics. So not something that I was doing before. And change for me in the past was very scary because it came from a place of how am I perceived, how am I doing, how am I performing, all of those sort of layers and layers. But as I was doing my program in nervous system work, and when I moved in this space, I started to realize that everything is different. Like I had friends who asked me literally, how is your imposter syndrome, right? Like they're very close people to me. They knew the change was so big and the expectation that I will feel out of place. And I was like, you know what? I don't have it. Like it's just a very much acknowledgement of this is new, this is difficult, this is hard. I'm learning, as opposed to being a reflection on who I am, my skills, my capabilities, my perception. So it really, it changed how I show up at work, how I show up with others in my personal relationships, how I show up in life, how I show up to life.
Yeah.
And I also, at that time, I was still doing career coaching. So I started to see this nervous system capacity everywhere in the leaders that I had, especially the bad or the not so good leaders. In the clients that I was working and the problems they're having at work, which were actually less about the environment and more about their own perception of themselves. So that's how eventually this work felt like really, truly supportive and transformational. And I wanted to be able to share with others. And for better or worse, I had a lot of examples around me that were struggling with the same things. So that's how I came into this.
Yeah, it sounds great. I love the bit when you said that just being present, just doing the work is already it's like part of the solution. You said in different words much better than me, but I find some clients also are used to just having lots of solutions given to them. So do this and you'll have that, do whatever. So they're expecting a solution, especially young people. I think they've been drawn to this. They've been given all the solutions and all that for all their problems. And they find themselves in this existential crisis as well. They don't really know what to do or how to feel really, really sure about what to do. So they're in this uncertainty moment of change. And also then they're expecting to feel like, give me a perfect answer, give me a nice way. I don't want to feel the bad things I'm feeling right now. I just want to, have the result and don't do it's not the work, but it's just like being present or going through this uncomfortable moment. You said it really nice. You just do the work and you just like, nothing has to really happen or nobody has to really say any magic words. It's just gonna feel right if you listen to yourself and let it be as it is.
Yeah. And you said it's just gonna feel right. And actually not even, sometimes it doesn't feel right. Of course, transition and change and again, uncertainty, when people want specific answers and solutions because they're avoiding the fear of the uncertainty, like you said, the discomfort, and then all the beliefs and stories that they have around that and around themselves. So there is like this clinging onto, give me just anything, as opposed to being with it. And I just speak from, also my own personal experience. And my last year has been exactly that, just being in the uncertainty of not knowing, but also not rushing, not pushing, not forcing for something to happen. Not that I didn't do it, I did. That's what I'm saying. I speak from the experience.
Well, people tend to think, so if I don't do anything, then it's just like they go to the opposite. It's like, well, I won't do anything. But they're not feeling, they're not being present. They're just also from the fear, just hiding. So it's another way of escaping.
And it actually tees map very nicely to the nervous system states. So when we have that, we have the fight response, which is go, 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 respond,
Yeah.
push, force. And then we
Fighting.
have the flight, or the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, but which are now removing myself, not doing anything,
Yeah.
just completely collapsing and giving up. So again,
Yeah.
exactly, we're coming back to our state, and our state sort of defines how much and how we can be with uncertainty. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah, and usually I feel it usually comes from a balanced place, somewhere that's we're not rushing anywhere, we're not hiding, we're not going too much further out or too much inside that we just block ourselves. So it's like an in-between balance place that is also active sometimes, because you have to take action, you have to jump into conversations, you have to do things that maybe are uncomfortable, and explain how you're feeling with people that are really close to you and maybe don't understand your path or your moment. So that's, I think, it's one of the difficult bits of the uncertainty moments of change.
Yeah, and you said that very beautifully. It's a beautiful reminder that when we stop and we don't do, work towards the goal or whatever that is, there is the perception that we're not doing anything. So in that present moment, we're being and we are sensing and we are noticing and staying with whatever's present. So there is still activity that's going on, but it's very different to the activity that we're used to.
Exactly.
And in my actually last year of this changes as well, one of the programs I did, I trained with David White. Maybe you're familiar with him. So you've heard of him, yeah?
No, I haven't seen anything, but I just had the name, but not much.
So he's a Irish British poet.
Okay.
Beautiful poetry work. I think he calls himself poet philosopher. And a lot of his poetry is based on and draws from Buddhism and spirituality. And the interesting thing is that for about 20 years now, he's also been working with companies in leadership. And I just love that, of bringing he was one of the people I was thinking when I was trying to bring this work to companies. He's like, it is possible. And people, if someone has brought poetry into leadership and massive organizations, it is possible.
Yeah.
So he does a lot of leadership work, but also trainings. And the program that I did is called The Conversational Nature of Leadership. The conversational nature. And it's really exactly this piece of being in conversation with life, with reality, with the present moment. What is happening right now, here, around me, within me, in my relationship with others? So being very much attuned to that. And you started the conversation by saying that this is like a dance, or leadership is like a dance. You start dancing on the dance floor and just you hope people join. But it's also like a dance in this way of like dance with life. Like how can you be responding and responsive? And again, that's sort of that sensing and being that happens in this state of unknown, if we allow it.
Totally. Yeah. It's just, you made me thought there's so many things and patterns you can see when I coach a team, especially in companies. There's so many things just on them being. They just sit down in a circle, and I just sense loads of information, how they're sitting down, who speaks first, who speaks last, who's facing against who. There's so many things, how they came in, if they're noisy, they're not, just how they behave. It gives so much information. So it's just being there. There's lots of things happening and loads of things to talk to. So yeah, really interesting. I just wanted to go back to, because you're here because of Hristina Crucianu, and I would like to read what she said, and she said it really nicely. She said, "I'm nominating Hristina because of her capacity and openness to change, especially when things are confusing, and that is a moment I think is really difficult, that is I can see more and more in society where people are reaching to dead ends, and it gets confusing. So how is it for you to feel, or to feel seen, by Hristina? I don't know what your relationship with her, if you are working or friends, but how is it to be seen for that, especially if you're doing that work now?
Yeah, I noticed I got a bit, I don't know if it's emotional or just, yeah, something moved me as I was listening, and I was thinking and remembering my conversations with Hristina. But how do I know her? So we've had a contact in common, and we've just been in touch over the last few years, and we've had actually a lot of things in common. We realized she invited me on her podcast. It was just over a year ago, just before I started my travels and my journey. And in that conversation, we realized the many things we had in common in terms of lifestyles and life changes and life transformations. So apart from also almost similar name and
Yeah.
origin. Yeah. So yeah, your question was sort of how her seeing me in being with the not knowing and the confusion, right? Um, it's a great question. I'm just also sitting a bit with why it made me feel so sort of contemplating in a way as I
Yeah.
hear that, and maybe because I'm thinking, maybe because I feel very grateful and appreciative of my own journey and of my own growth, to be able to say, and someone to be able to say that you know,
Yeah.
to reflect that, because I know that's
I,
not been the case. It was not
yeah.
the case even just 3 years ago.
Yeah. I
And
think
it's just,
it's a real need that everyone has, just to be seen in a way, and that your purpose in life is gone out there and it's been seen by others, and your work goes out into the real world in a way, so you are doing something, so it's like the confirmation of that. It does,
yeah.
it's my work is useful for at least someone, even if it's for an example.
Yeah. And you know, this piece around not knowing is, I just remembered when I left Skyscanner, I got this card with messages from different people that I worked with.
Mm.
And one of the notes was from a senior director that I worked with, and she was saying how she appreciated working together. And one thing she said that it really surprised me and brought me a lot of joy, she said that working with me, and especially acknowledging when we didn't know what we're doing and what was happening, was very refreshing.
Wow.
And I've thought a lot about it when I read that, and since then as well. And I think the reason that I was able to say, I don't know. So again, that was in this role where I was at product management and experimentation. So I was leading this program, this pace. I was the one making decisions, and it was something that was used by the whole organization. A lot of also leaders within the organization from different disciplines had stake in it. And I had just joined. I had these two teams, data scientists, engineers, with a lot of depth. They were already in this space for a lot of years, and I knew nothing. And on one hand, it was terrifying, but on the other hand, it was, I have nothing to prove here. Even like I cannot prove anything because I don't know anything. I'm starting from scratch, and all I can do is just bring my other skills of
Yeah.
relating, of thinking, of analyzing things, not like all these critical thinking, analytical skills. And I had to be very honest with myself and with others. Like, you know, I had to make decisions for the teams and the space. If I didn't know, I had to ask. I had to be very explicit. And the same way with the leaders I was working with. So I think it's very interesting that when we drop the expectation on ourselves, the fear of how we're perceived, of what we do, we can actually be honest with ourselves,
Yeah.
and with others.
Yeah.
And then the space between us, the space that's created, becomes so much more different
Yeah.
and open and fluid.
There's so much power there. Yeah, I can remember always a friend saying, maybe I was just, we were asking questions one to each other, And sometimes he just came up as, I don't really have an answer for this question right now. And I said, what? So it's like, how can you say that? Just make something up, just pretend. But I thought, wow, this is the next level. He just thought for a few seconds and said, I don't really have an answer right now, but yeah, that meant I'm going to think about it. I'm going to try and look for an answer, and I'm here with the uncertainty, and I don't really know where we're going with this, but I'm fine with it as well. So yeah, it seems
and
like
there is so much power, like on a nervous system, sort of physiological level. I don't know what you notice, but when you say that, when someone says, I don't know, even if I say it, I just notice my body softening. It's like, an exhale. Like I don't have to pretend.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to force. I don't have to make up. I can also, the ability that I can tell you, whoever it is you in front of me, it means, again, I'm not pretending. I'm not playing a role, putting a mask. It's like,
I'm open to it. And there's so much power in this silence, because it's there all the possibilities are there in this silence, in this black hole that just become in front of you, so it's, for me, it's the most powerful force. Just space and silence. That's what maybe 99.9% of the universe is made of. Space and silence.
Yeah. And also then I'm thinking of what comes next naturally. So when you say I don't know, it becomes an invitation to let's figure it out.
Yeah.
What do you think? What is possible? It's like, that feels like the next step, which maybe is also what makes people relax. It invites them in, brings them in.
Exactly. You're in the same place and you're looking towards something new, and it creates a bond. It creates a target and a new thing to do. It's a lovely moment.
Maybe this can be an invitation to your audience. Maybe try next time you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Even with yourself. Maybe you can start with yourself.
And see what happens. Yeah.
I don't know. And even that, I think, kind of going back to why I had my leadership course as leadership is awareness. But it just, everything comes back to awareness of, you don't have to say to anyone else, but like to yourself. So, saying out loud, I don't know. Yeah. What does it feel like? How does that resonate? What is the first reaction you have? And just being with that, that's all we have to do sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So because Hristina left a letter for you, so I'm going to read it out loud, so you can have your moment of just listening and receiving. So I'll just read it for you. So it says like this: Dear Hristina, I've always loved your approach to change and openness to it when things are confusing. In spite of it, you taught me that with calculated risk, one can step courageously towards their dreams. And not from a societal perspective, but rather from the inner drive and voice that so many of us have learned to maybe overlook. Every time I have to take a decision, I check my body and listen for what that inner voice that lies underneath the loud society voices says.
Thank you for reading that. It feels very, very special. Sometimes, I even feel like listening to that. I'm like, wow, can I take credit for all of this? And, like, do I live courageously always? And probably not. And then I'm reminded of the quote of what is to be courageous and to go with courage. And it's like not fear, but to have the fear and do it anyway, to do it with the fear and with the terror and with everything that comes with it.
Yeah, I always drop in the fun bit. Like, I'm having fun with uncertainty, with changes, with the unknown. it's something that I usually put in and remind myself that it has to be fun. Life has to be fun. If not, it just doesn't make that much sense to me, at least. And it helps like smoothing things out.
Yeah, that's always good. It's not easily available to a lot of people.
Yeah, I do.
Myself included. It's a work in progress. But for me, maybe that's my next step, because my first step has been just being much, much, much kinder to myself in the way I talk to myself, the way I approach things, interpret, reflect back. So it's that kindness, self-compassion, acceptance, not judging. So I feel like maybe fun is my next step of development.
Yeah, I think once you've put in the fun bit, you've already judged yourself, you've already judged the situation, you already thought about it, you accepted it a little bit more. So that's what the fun part comes in.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go with it. And I always tend to feel that really like a bit too soon. My wife says, you're not with the emotion. You're already on the next step. I say, okay, because I'm seeing the output, so I'm already happy for that person. Okay, it was just she has a problem, he has a problem, and I'm already on the other side of the problem. So I'm feeling even glad for her, or I can see, you know, the shine that's going to happen after. So yeah, for me, it's like also being present in the moment, but also then putting in the fun bit. Yeah. So yeah, great. Anything else you wanted to talk before we finish? I was just looking at the time. We've already gone 35 more minutes.
I don't know. There's a lot we can talk about on this topic.
Yeah.
And something maybe that I always come back to is I did last year a Vipassana retreat. So Vipassana is a silent meditation program.
Yeah.
The usual most common one is 10 days. I did 21 days.
Wow.
And it was excruciatingly painful and difficult. One of the beautiful things about it was that we had a teacher, so a Buddhist monk. My teacher was a female, so she's been there for a lot of years. And this is the only person you speak to. So every day you have 10-minute conversation, check in, and kind of about what's coming up for you.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of learnings, and 21 days, a lot of things were revealed to me. But one of the main things that I keep coming back, and then it took me probably half of my time there to kind of finally start accepting. It's one of those also key principles of Buddhism. But my teacher kept saying, Hristina, you're fighting reality. Like you are not accepting things as they are, and you're constantly fighting with it, wanting it to be different, getting frustrated. So it's like those things that I think I've reached the point of fun, because now I can, I catch myself and I tell myself, you're fighting reality again. But I think it's a very important piece also when it comes to change, because kind of we talked a lot about wanting to control and wanting things to be different. But change and uncertainty is about being with what is in the first place, and really acknowledge in the first place what is here. What is trying to happen? What am I resisting? As opposed to immediately trying to change it, as opposed to fighting with it, disagreeing. So that's, maybe one of my hard-earned wisdoms, but fight reality and fight change and what wants to emerge. And just be with it, acknowledge, observe, stay with it.
Yes, it's one of the things like it's really deep into this society. Just like you have to do quick, do lots of things, and so you have to fight and push towards what you want. You have to fight for it, but it's not always the case. Sometimes it's just the opposite. I usually tend to see like what's the pattern. If my tendency is just to fight always, or just to react to things. Maybe the opposite is what I need. If I'm too passive about things, maybe what I need to do is the opposite, is getting into action and some more. And I find myself usually, on one end, and then have to go towards the other end. And then I understand life like trying to find these ends to navigate through the middle bit as well, to the balance that's in between. And you learn from one side and you learn from the opposite side as well. It's not just like ping pong and going from one side to the other all the time, but it's, you kind of navigate through different moments, and you get to these points where you think, okay, now I have to change the other side.
And it's not about not doing, no, like fighting in this case was in my situation, but it's not that we shouldn't be doing and trying to change and move, but there is also a need, especially with big, ambiguous, unknown changes and problems and situations, there is a need to just really be in it and really understand it first. I don't know, was it Einstein or someone, but that said that if you have an hour to solve a problem, you would spend 50 minutes or 55 minutes thinking about it, or like observing it, sitting with it, looking at it from all perspectives, and then you actually get on to it. So I think that's a bit the point of like being with that, in that, like you said, in space in between, before we go into too soon solving, fixing.
I'm just, it goes through my mind is, if I have 21 days to solve one problem, I'm gonna do it. I only did like a 3-day retreat without talking to anyone. It was just like a solo in the middle of nowhere. You couldn't see anybody. You just had some, not even food, just drink. But after 24 hours, your mind like kind of settles, and there's this silence, and then there's everything gives you like nice insights, and you solve all the problems that you have just by sitting there and being, and everything just like, oh, this is a good solution for this, and I could do this and I could do that, and why don't I try this or that? So I think it's a thing to do. Just stop a bit, especially when we're just overloaded with chaos nowadays. Well, Hristina, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Now that we're done with the conversation, looking back at the challenge, how do you feel about it?
It's great. It's the best thing. It's the best thing. If you don't know, then just do it. Try it. It's something different. So I usually go with a script. At least people need, or they usually ask for a script before. So I usually give it, even if I jump into different questions as it goes. But it's absolutely 100% recommended just to jump into new challenges and experience them. There's no good or bad way of doing things, and I think that whatever comes up is a good thing. Unless it's like really absurd for any reason, but you're there for that. So thank you for bringing in the challenge, and I hope that people have liked it as well. And and I hope to speak to you again soon, because it's been really nice knowing about you and your work, and we can definitely relate to a lot of things. And now I was thinking, what is a good way to end when we need silence, and we've said that we need some uncertainty, and what should we say and put in if you want to take out, so I'll maybe leave that to you.
Thank you. That's a really good question. Thank you for, kind of your mind going into that. And maybe what we can do is, because as you were saying that, I noticed my body wanted to take a side. So I was like, to relax into this. But it could be also an invitation to whoever's listened to the end of this conversation to pause, give themselves like a minute or two, and there is anything that really resonated with them, anything that they want to try out for themselves, just to actually pause and receive and digest, as opposed to moving on to the next thing. Maybe that's how we can end it. Give them an invitation and a moment of peace.
Great. Should we do that? Should we be silent for a minute, and then we'll say goodbye, and we can be with the people who are listening?
Great idea. Let's do that. I can guide a little invitation, but you and whoever's listening, just allow yourself to sit back wherever you are, or pause, take a breath, exhale with a gentle sound, soften the shoulders, the belly, and just be here for a minute.
I was just feeling really, really grateful for the quality of the silence that you've in.
Beautiful.
So thank you again for being here, and thank you for sharing this and for proposing this new type of interview or conversation. And yeah, hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you, Hristina.
Thank you.
Take care.